of people who look up our Together Tuesdays to make sure they understand the opportunities that as part of the MessageOps CSP program of all the benefits that you do get. If you could, and so Melissa, I don't know if you started recording, it'd be great if you could.
Yes, sir. We just began recording.
All right. Well, fantastic. So listen, guys, it's an intimate group today. So please, if you want to chime in, got any questions, please jump in and just ask them. We're really excited today. Just to let you know, I know today we were supposed to go over some Sentinel, the Azure Sentinel security products, but believe it or not, the team that was supposed to do it got their COVID shots, their second ones, and they're knocked out. So we did not know that at the time, so I appreciate it. So what we thought we would do today is we were going to give you a special preview into what is coming into the Inscape platform. And would love to get your feedback, and I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. And I believe that you'll get a lot of value out of what we're going to go over today. So you got me, this ugly guy over here on the left, Chris Piles, on the call with you today. We have your customer and client success advisor, Melissa Mintz, and her counterpart, Alex. And how are you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well.
Hey, we're doing well. Thank you for joining us today, Chris.
Oh, listen, my pleasure. Love it. So what we're going to be reviewing today is the next version of Productivity Insights, what we're calling 2.0. And we are giving you the ultimate preview of what is going to be coming. We're going to be releasing beta in a couple, I'd say 3 weeks. And I'm very excited about the solution. I think you guys will be too. From there. So let's just talk about what we're trying to provide here with Inscape Productivity Insights. What we're doing is we're providing once unattainable digital communication information and analytics to really help the individual, the department managers, and the executives make smarter decisions to drive better outcomes. And we're really excited about this, and the customer feedback that we have gotten is really what has helped us mold this demonstration that we're going to show you today in this product. So really what we're doing is we're providing insights into your digital interactions, such as the number of emails being sent, who you're sending them to, how many emails are you receiving, the number of calendar entries that people might be having, the number of online meetings, how long you've been in meetings. And we present them in a way for individuals to make smarter decisions on how to manage their time, department managers, and perhaps even executives. That's what we're going to deliver. And really what we're seeing, because we've been utilizing it internally now for quite a while, is what we have seen is that Productivity Insights has really helped us spot trends that we would have never discovered before. We would have never seen them before without Productivity Insights. And I'm going to demonstrate some of those for you today. Productivity Insights has helped us stop waste. It absolutely has saved us money internally of spotting these different insights and how we could change business processes to help reduce waste, and also really highlights the investments that you've made in different Microsoft solutions. And again, I really want to stress it's for the individual, the department managers, as well as the executives. So, really, it's, customers were asking us when COVID first came out, they were like, how do we know people are being productive at home? We want to know which departments, are my clients communicating with the most now? Which departments are my clients communicating with the least? With whom are my clients interacting? Are they the right people in the right departments? How quickly is my company or department responding to my customers and prospects? When is the best time to communicate with a customer or with another department? So Insights knows all of this and more to help your the individual make a better decision on how to run their day, perhaps even the department and the overall business. So really, from an individual, department, and management and such, what if we could show you who you're speaking with, how often, how much calendar time, instant message and conversations you're having, and online meetings you're having with whom? And is that time being spent with a certain person or department in your company, or should it be spent with a prospect or a client? What would you do with all this knowledge? And really, that's what Insights is all about, is helping you provide these productivity insights to help you make better decisions on how to do this. So I'm going to jump out right now, and I'm just going to jump into a quick overview of the product itself. So please help me out here. Okay, so we have Productivity Insights, as everybody knows, and of people, what we have out presently today is Productivity Insights. And if you clicked on that Productivity Insights, what we were giving away, and we have, how many, Melissa or Alex, do you remember the stats? I think we have over 600 companies now using Productivity Insights. Is that correct, the base model?
Yeah, I think just about that number, Chris, give or take.
So we have about 600 customers out there, and we gave this away for free, everybody, during COVID. We were like, because we had so many people asking us, hey, we need to know, what can we, how can we track the productivity of our remote workers? So we came up with this, and it was pretty simple. Okay, we came out and said, hey, look, we can tell you how many inbound emails you're getting as a company, how many outbound emails, how many emails have been read. And this is for this date, so you can pick, you can pick any time you want. You can go back 3 months or whatever it might be, and get that data, and you can see how that changes. And then you can see the top most inbound, outbound, mailboxes within your organization. And for everybody, you're probably familiar with this. This is this presentation layer is Power BI, so you can export all this information and go nuts with it. And then, like, how many Teams conversations are we having? How many private chats? How many, team chats? How many calls have we made? Who's the top 10 team users? And then we also looked at it from Teams devices, what's being used, what's the most popular. And then we actually had where you could come out and, a lot of the customers, your peers, were saying this is great, but we need to be able to compare departments. So we threw this little thing in here that you could come out and say, hey, I want to look at, I'm just going to be using, let's just use inside sales as an example. Great. Okay, great. These inside sales people, here's their UPN. This is the department. What's the last mailbox activity? How many emails were sent? How many were read? How many were received? The last team's activity, etc. This is just a demo account, so you can see that. But this was really good, and we are providing insights to about 650,000 different UPNs. And so a lot of customers are using this, and they really loved it. But they kept coming back asking us for more. They kept coming back, these 600 customers that were using it, and saying, hey, look, this is okay, but I really need, my organization is asking me for more information. And so based upon that, what we did is we listened to the recommendations, we came up with some ideas. And really what you were asking us for was to provide insights of the complete digital communication footprint of the organization. So what we're going to be releasing soon is what we're calling, I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but Productivity Insights Premium, Productivity Insights 2, or we're not sure of the name yet. But after listening to everything that you guys said, we came back with this. And I'm hoping that you guys who are on the phone please be interactive and ask. If not, I'll just keep talking. So what we're doing here, I want to explain this. So of course you get what we just showed you. That of course comes with it. But then what we're doing to enhance it is getting much deeper. So the first thing I would like to let you know is I'm signed in as C. Pyle at championsg.com. And I'm viewing this, okay, from the lens of an executive at championsg.com. But you can also, based upon the role-based access and your Active Directory, if somebody signs in, let's say, for example, Stacy signed in, she would just get to see just her department and who are they communicating with, or the domains that they're communicating with. And if Melissa, for example, she signed in, she would just see the people and the domains that she's communicating with. So let's take a little tour of this. So follow me, if you will. So you can see here, we're looking at this date range from January to 3/31 of what we're looking at. And we can see that the Champion SG domain, who did we communicate with the most during this period of time? Well, guess what? We communicated with Champion SG the most, meaning that we spent more time communicating internally than we did with any other email domain. So that was really interesting to me. I didn't think about that, but that's it. And then the second was SiriusCom. Well, as many of you know, we were just purchased by Sirius. So that makes complete sense that I spent all this time communicating with Sirius. That was the second. And then number 3, I couldn't believe it, was Microsoft. We spent more time interacting with Microsoft. So let's just take a little cruise through here. Now what are you seeing? So now what we are going to provide to you, our customers, is the ability to look in and say, you know what, I've had 18,000 interactions with this domain. I have sent this many emails. I've received this many emails from them. I have had over 322 calendar events. I've spent over 304 online meetings. I have spent 354 hours communicating with Microsoft in calendar events. I have spent over 338 hours on online meetings with this company. I've had 16,000 communications. What my average response time is to them, I mean, what their, right, and their average response time to us. And what's the optimal time we can expect a reply from Microsoft? Isn't that funny? 1 a.m. So that's really interesting, right? So let's dive in a little bit more. So now, just to let you know, this is all true. Everything I'm about to show you, this is live data, and I'm going to show you what Productivity Insights did for me as the president of MessageOps. So I clicked in here and said, Jesus, man, I can't believe this. Well, who am I communicating with at Microsoft? Okay. And I noticed that we have a lot of, since we do a lot of support, there's a lot of shared mailboxes that we're communicating with. And here's the communication stats. I can look at the total amount, the conversations, the first interactions, total calendar time, the number of emails, the number of calendar hours, and I can drill into all of this for you. What the meetings were about. We're grabbing all of this information, the online meetings, what those were about. So we're getting into that. But then I started asking myself, man, this is great information, but I want to know more. What employees at Champion SG are communicating with Microsoft? So I click on employees, and now I notice that Carlos has had 1,300 interactions with this, 21 calendar events, 19. He spent over, this many hours with them. And then I'm like, well, who the hell is he? Who's Carlos speaking to? Well, once again, I notice a lot of shared mailboxes at Microsoft. But what really jumped out at me was like, who's Amy Lee? I'm like, okay, I like Amy Lee. Who is she? I don't know who she is, but Carlos is speaking to her. So that's interesting. Rob Vogel. Wow, and I see Rob Vogel here. This Amy Lee person again popped up. So now I'm really intrigued. Now I got 2 people communicating with this person, Amy Lee. And, would you trust me that if I was to load more that Amy Lee would pop up again? Because I don't want to keep going, but I would guarantee you that she popped up. So I finally, not knowing who Amy Lee is, I said, hey guys, who's this Amy Lee? Oh, she's our Microsoft TAM. And I'm like, wow, does she cost us any money? Oh yeah, she's $275 an hour. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is crazy, man. I know exactly now how much time I'm spending with Amy Lee. I can look at it all. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. How can we, and again, being the president, I'm wondering how we can reduce costs. And did you know that you're spending this much time with her? No, I never knew it. Carlos was like, I never knew it, never saw it in this regard before. So right away, what we've done is we love Amy. She's fantastic, but we're trying to figure out a better way to, work with her and reduce our costs. So that was just one little snippet of what Productivity Insights did. So let me show you another one that was really interesting. So I went into here. I said, wow, Champion SG. So we're communicating the most, right, between each other. The Champion SG domain and the Champion SG domain. That's where we're spending the most interactions, the most amount of calendar events. So then I said, well, this is interesting. What departments are we communicating with the most at this organization, within my own company? So then I look and I'm like, oh, this makes complete sense, right? I mean, remote services. Well, of course that makes complete sense. Why? Because all of our employees are working remote, and we have a lot of people who are supporting them and working on the remote services. So that makes complete sense to me. No big deal. But then, right, Stacy, I don't know if you're still on, but you remember when we looked at this and we're like, what do you mean accounting? We are spending 523 hours communicating with accounting department? I'm like, what the hell? Are they giving something away for free? Why is that the number 2 department in my organization? And this was, again, Insights showed this to me. And I was like, wow, I didn't know this. So then we clicked in here and we started looking, well, who are we communicating the most with in the accounting department? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, okay, this is interesting. But then I start noticing these really big pops. Like, why was this such a huge pop? And then it goes flat. And then again, boom, another huge pop. And I'm starting to look at this and I'm wondering, like, why, what's going on here, man? What is going on? Well, you know what? After a little research, I called Margaret and I said, Margaret, a lot of people are communicating with you, a lot of one-on-one chats, a lot of one-to-many chats, a lot of calendar invites. What's going on and why is it such a high level? You know what she says to me? Like, past the salt, like I should have known this. She's like, well, that's when everybody needs to get their expense reports in, and that's when they have to have all their commissions due. So I said, you mean to tell me that we don't have an automated process that that my company is spending 523 hours submitting commission reports and expense reports? Can we not figure out a better way to reduce the amount of conversations that we're having? Maybe there's a process that we can develop. And so out of this, came this whole idea of these processes that we can now do to streamline how we communicate and collaborate with accounting to reduce the amount of time, that we're spending. Like, how can we, come up with something? And again, personally, I never knew this, never knew it. So your peers are like, oh man, this is great, man, you're getting there. This is what I was looking for. Great, what else can we do? They said, well, we would like the ability that my sales department, they would really like to know, based upon the number of interactions, can we do something with, and if a salesperson is forecasting a sale, can I look and see what the communication is with that company? So I'm going to give you so you can type in any company's name. I'm just going to give you pull up this test account here. And you can come out and you can say, great, well, who are we communicating with at this ABC company? Well, here's the people we're communicating with. Really? That's interesting. And who's communicating with them? MessageOps support. Vita, she's in accounting. Melissa is one of our customer success managers, and then Landon is one of our inside appointment setters. So, but wait a second, we're forecasting a sale here, and it's a very highly technical sale, but I don't see any of my engineers speaking to this company. What departments are communicating? Now I'm looking at it. Accounting has more interactions with this customer than my sales team does. Isn't that interesting? But yet this is one of my best customers. What can we do about this? That's interesting. And who is sales communicating with, by the way? Just one person here. That's interesting. And we've had no calendar invites with this company. We've had one email conversation, but yet I'm forecasting a deal with the customer. Isn't that interesting? So your peers have said to us, man, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. So the other thing that came up was with the individuals, that the individual, when they logged in, right, they could see all the communications that they're having within their own company. And why am I spending so much time, right? Melissa could say, why am I spending so much time with accounting? I can't believe that I spent 5 hours this past week with accounting. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. That's not my job. We need to fix this. Or better yet, who should I be speaking with? And again, everybody's different, but we believe that productivity insights will help the productivity of the individual, the department head, and the manager. So after a little while talking to more people in your shoes, they then asked us, they said, well, wait a second, we want to make sure that our employees and our customers don't leave us. We want to make sure that they're happy. So what we're doing now is we're applying machine learning to this, because we have this massive amount of data. And who are you communicating with? How often are we communicating with them? How involved are we with these customers? How many times do those customers respond to us? How many times do we respond to them? Who are they communicating with at my organization? And in what frequency? How about my employees? Can I see somebody that maybe, I don't know, checking out based upon their activity, that they're no longer engaged? So your peers have said, hey, you know what? This would be great if you can apply machine learning to this, that you can almost predict based upon the digital communication footprint if a customer is about to leave you, or maybe an employee might be leaving you because they're just not engaged based upon where they were 6 months ago, whatever it was. And as a sales rep, a customer service advisor, an accounting person, wouldn't you want to know that also? That, wait a second, my customer that I'm responsible for might be in jeopardy of leaving me because of his digital communication footprint has really fallen off. So some really cool things that, this is providing. And this is going to be coming out in beta very soon, and answering so much more than the original version of the this right here, right? Because this is what we started with, but based upon your feedback, your peers' feedback, this is where what we're going to is to provide a much deeper insight. So that has been about just about a half hour here on this very high overview. I don't know if there's any questions or thoughts from the field, or maybe if anybody else within Champion, within MessageOps has any comments. Okay. All right. Any thoughts at all? Are we heading in the right direction? I would love to hear from somebody that might be out there.
How do those permission sets work? You mentioned, so if I have a manager who wants to see their staff and what their staff are doing, where are those permission sets configured?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and thank you so much for asking. So we're working on this, and I'd love to get your feedbacks. We're thinking that we're going to take it from the Active Directory. So in other words, if the if the AD environment is set up properly with, the departments and here's the department heads, and that's where we were thinking basing it off of. That was where we were going. And just to let you know, we had one of your peers that said, well, that's pretty good, but my AD is not all, I wish it was the cleanest. Is there a way that we can assign people through productivity insights to give them, associated views? What do you think? I mean, how would you like to see it done? We were thinking going through Active Directory, right? And being able to access it, saying, look, here's your directory, here's the people that report to you, here's your department, and go from there. What do you think?
I think it's twofold. So I think that's a good idea. But Active Directory only shows the initial supervisor, right? So
Right.
It's not going to show 2 levels up that supervisor. So that might be where you need that extra piece of permissions within Inkscape, because I'm director. So if I have someone working under me and they have another person under them, how do I see that person if they're not reporting directly to me? So Active Directory doesn't see that. So we'd have to have another way to force those permissions.
Can I repeat what I think I heard, just to make sure that I'm clear, because I know my team and I we're taking notes here. So what I heard you say is, and again, I'm not really technical. So what I'm hearing you saying is, look, at Active Directory, that's great. It can tell you who their manager is, but it doesn't provide multi-tiers of management, right? So like, as you mentioned, right, look, I get to see my department, but if there's somebody below me who has people reporting to them, that's where we get in a challenge with AD, right?
It also depends on how deep your view goes, right? So if you are also picking up the manager's manager, right, within AD, so like if you're going through the tiers,
yes,
then you can see that information. So then the question really is, how far down are you going, or how deep into AD do you go?
We were going to go the whole way. We were going to be able to go all the way is what we were going to do. Or we had that, but the other one that it was like, oh, my AD's a mess. It's not up to date. And again, I can't speak for everybody, but that was their thoughts were, let me create who has access to what they want to see. So we were looking at maybe doing both, saying, look, you can do it this way or you can do it this way. Because you can see what you can do here is, let's just go back to my favorite company here. You could come back and, you can pin this. You can just pin that, and you can create like all these unique pins and create your own dashboard, right? That if you wanted to do that and, pin all these things. But I hear what you're saying, and it's a really, really good point. We'll take that down, and how are we going to do that? Thank you so much. I think it's something that technically, I can't tell you. I know that we're working on AD to be able to give those permissions. Any other thoughts? I mean, are we heading in the right direction? Is this something that, hey, you know what? I'm glad that MessageOps is. I mean, do you think this could provide some good information for your lines of business, where you could bring this up to them and say, hey, look at these reports I can now show you?
I think it can. Speaking for my organization, we use Desktime also. Desktime is another software product that is installed on all our machines and allows us to see all the productivity, like everything they're doing. So not just the Microsoft side, but it watches all their web traffic, every application used, when they're on, when they're not on. It also allows them to fill in gaps. So if they're working off of the PC, they can come back, log into that application, and fill in what they did during that time. The one piece that application doesn't do that this does, what you're showing, is that application doesn't see into Microsoft, right? So we're sure we can see that they're using Outlook and they're sending emails, but we don't see where they're going, right? So what you're showing here does give a much more advantage over just having desk time, because now you can see where those interactions are going, how many hours are they spending with what, like you said, which organizations, which individuals. So just having that knowledge is, and also the good point of this is that you're not forcing like IT to give, pull reports and give reports. This is something that they can access themselves, right? They have permission, they can log in themselves. they can dive into the reporting and see who's doing what without having to request reports from IT. Because right now, some stuff can get pulled from desk time. Then when you want to look into Microsoft on our side, that reporting really would, come from the IT team. We'd go in and we'd pull the reports out for them and say, yeah, here's what's going on. So that's a time saver from the IT staff as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent, man. Thank you so much, Jason, for those comments. And I'm going to look into desk time. And I think the other point is like, I think that like from my perspective, like this is where like IT can really become like a real business partner with all the departments and says, you know what, customer success representative, Melissa, Alex, here, let me show you. This is how much time you're spending with these customers. And Melissa might say, oh my God, I never knew that I spent 40 hours with this customer. And then she could ask herself, by the way, this one customer only spends $10 a month with us. Meanwhile, this company that spends $10,000 a month, I'm not spending enough time with them. And we can actually see that inherently, through her digital communication footprint. And that was something I never really thought about, because the other thing that like people said, Jason, was interesting was like, when you do it like through Salesforce.com or anything else that's tracking, people have to manually enter it. This is just a natural way that you communicate and collaborate, right? That's capturing it all. So I think it's interesting, and I appreciate your feedback on that. Well, I know we're trying to keep this just to 30 minutes. I hope that this was a good use of your time. I want to hopefully all the MessageOps members out there see that we're constantly trying to evolve the platform that you are part of. And we do appreciate your business very much. And with that, is there any closing statements, Melissa, Alex, Stacy? I know Yeah, go ahead.
No, great job and great new tools as always, Chris. Just wanted to remind Jason, if he's able to join us next week's Together Tuesdays, we're going to be going over Power Automate and Power BI. So if he has interest in workflows, definitely check us out next week for that edition of Together Tuesdays.
Well, that's great. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate everybody, and stay safe, and thank you for the business.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everybody.